Hi everyone, if you don't know me, my name is Mara Smith. I'm so excited to be here today for Partnership Day London. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for PartnerEyes, and if you can't tell in the last 10 seconds that I've been speaking, I am from across the pond. And join with me here today is another fellow American, Clayton Nelson from Expedia. Clayton, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience here?
Hi everybody, I'm Clayton. I lead the strategic partnerships and affiliates business at Expedia Group. Prior to doing that, I led strategy for all of our B2B businesses at Expedia Group, everything we do on the supply side, working with hotels and airlines, car, cruise activities, as well as our B2B demand business, which is a quiet, kept secret, and our media solutions advertising business. Before that, I was a career consultant, so did about a decade in consulting, last 5 years working with Bain & Company, solving a broad array of problems, everything from how do you sell more toenail fungus drugs to is J.Crew a thriving or dying brand, or a variety of other things. Originally from Brooklyn, New York, but I am a Boston Celtics fan. So I've been up since 1:30 in the morning watching them in the finals, 3 games up versus 0. No one in this audience cares because you all don't watch basketball. It's a London audience, but I'm very excited and tired. But very glad to be with you all today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Clayton. Today's conversation between Clayton and I is titled A Marketing Channel or Strategic Driver of Operational Growth. And I think that this is a conversation that many of you in the audience will find very interesting, as what we're about to talk about is really a case study centered on how Expedia has set out on a multi-year operational change to really transform the affiliate channel within your organization into a strategic growth driver. And I think this is really important because for many years, the affiliate channel has really struggled with some misperceptions. And Flavella, she had touched on disrupting the status quo. And I think that the information that you're about to share today, Clayton, is really a great example of how Expedia has taken a very progressive approach to its partnership function within the organization to drive, immense growth and expansion. So
I feel like you're setting me up. Like that's such a high bar you're setting right there. I may not have any answers. I'm just going to tell you what we're doing, and might all be terrible ideas.
Well, this is your story to tell, Clayton.
Okay,
so.
Great.
With that, why don't we dive into the conversation? So, Clayton, I think first and foremost, I've already been briefed on, what you have set out on this journey with Expedia. But for the audience, I think it would be great to just share a little bit of foundational knowledge and some background context into this multi-year change that started just a few years ago. So why don't you share just a little bit of foundational level setting info with the audience here?
Yeah. I can start by just saying a little bit about Expedia and what we do. Most of you probably know that we are a travel company. We're an online travel agent that takes supply from hotels and airlines and many other travel suppliers, and we match it in a marketplace with sources of demand, travelers that we find through a variety of different channels. Expedia is really interesting because we are probably more akin to a grocery store than we are to the typical e-commerce site. The thing that we sell is perishable inventory, right? If I don't sell the hotel tonight, I can't sell that hotel tomorrow. It's gone, right? It is inventory that vanishes, similar to produce in the produce section of a grocery store. And so we're in this constant battle to sell as much of that inventory as possible. And we do so on behalf of the hoteliers and airlines and other companies that we work with that believe that we have better reach than they do, or at least different reach than they do. And we end up getting into this difficult situation where, thinking about the hotel I typically stay at here in London, the Montcalm, East, and Shoreditch, you can get the hotel room there on Marriott's site. You can get it on some of our competitors' sites. You can get it on our site as well. It's probably the same hotel, maybe a little bit different in price, maybe some bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, we're selling the same thing. And so our store is full of other people's inventory that they're asking us to sell on their behalf and pushing. In a very strange way, Expedia Group actually is just an entire affiliate business, right? someone else gives us their products and we push it out, we market it to somebody else, and we were paid a commission or a fee. And so we first operate in this context where we are a grocery store selling a perishable inventory and only doing it through affiliate marketing, even though we don't call it affiliate marketing. We call ourselves an online travel agent. And so the journey that we've been on is essentially elevating what began as an affiliate channel to the level of solving the broader business problem that Expedia Group has. We have all this perishable inventory. How do we sell more of it? When I came into the business, the observation was that our business was operating incredibly efficiently. I won't give you specific numbers, but you put $1 into the affiliate channel and you get more than $1 back in profit. But very strangely, it was treated as a marketing channel. And in the lens of being a marketing channel, we'd often get questions related to, well, how are you going to spend your budget this year, right? You have a finite amount of money that you can spend, just like the SEM team has or any other performance marketing channel has. How are you going to spend your budget? But then you look at this wonderful gift of a business. You put $1 in, you get more than $1 back. Why would we have a budget? Why would we constrain ourselves in that sense? If the question I asked of our now CEO is, well, if a partner told me that they could double size, would I tell them that we're out of budget? We put $1 in, we get more than $1 back. Would I say, no, I don't want the more than $1 back on the second half of this business that you're giving me? And of course the answer is no. And so leaning into that and saying, what if we change from thinking about ourselves as a marketing channel, and there's so many details through that we can go through, but thinking about ourselves as a business, operating against this business objective of sell all the perishable inventory we have as best as we possibly can, leveraging the reach of not just Expedia Group, but our partners, we could revolutionize. The results today have been fairly remarkable. Can't give you specific numbers because we're a publicly traded company, but I've told many of the partners in this room that our intention was to double over the course of 2 years, and we are well on track to do that. We are the fastest growing part of Expedia Group, and we've really unlocked something unique. And so hopefully some of the insights we share today will be helpful to everybody here.
Wonderful, thank you. Before we get into the specifics, which I'm sure everyone is dying to hear more about with respect to this transformation, can you share with the audience what were some of the key drivers behind the transformation? Did your role that you stepped into specifically have any play into this decision to embark on this journey?
Yeah. So we had our affiliate marketing channel as part of our B2C organization historically. And it was managed as a marketing channel, as I mentioned. Expedia Group is two different parts. There's a B2C component and a B2B component. Most people know us for the B2C part. It's Expedia.com or .co.uk or hotels.com or Orbitz, Travelocity, et cetera, like down the brands. We have this B2B business where we give our technology and inventory through to other companies that want to monetize their audiences with travel. That could be a bank that wants to sell travel directly. So if you've ever booked travel on American Express, as an example, that's just a white label version of Expedia. We give our inventory through to competitors because for whatever reason, some people want to come to Expedia.com to purchase. Some people will want to go to a competitor site. And we operate with a high degree of humility, and we say if they're going to go to a competitor site, that competitor is doing the marketing and they have better brand affinity with that audience, well, the very least we can do is make sure they get a good hotel. And so we provide them our hotels, and we share the revenue that comes back from that. And within that B2B business, which it's funny, we call it the private label solutions business now. It was previously called the Expedia Affiliate Network. We operate with this mentality of how do we leverage partners and partner marketing in order to sell our technology and inventory for this mission of helping everyone travel. And so one of the first things we did is we actually moved the affiliate marketing channel over to the B2B business. And one of the things I find that embarked us on this journey is that you tend to solve problems through the lens that you evaluate them with. To the extent that we had traditionally been looking at the affiliate marketing channel as a marketing problem, we obsessed over things like what is the ROAS? What's the right new customer mix? How are we building our brand? You asked marketing questions because you were solving a marketing problem. We moved over to the B2B business. We started asking business questions. How much can we grow? What geographies should we enter? How do we get partners to adopt more products? It's a very business-oriented question. And when we took it in that direction, I think a lot of things changed. And as the former leader of the B2B strategy, I came in with a B2B lens when I solved all these problems, or tried to solve all these problems. My team's looking at me. You haven't solved them all, I know. We're still trying to solve many of them. But that's the thing that embarked us, is just moving the organization from one context to another and shifting the lens of problem solving from it's a marketing problem to it is a business problem. And I think that unlocked a lot for us.
So that is a major shift, not just for you and your team, but obviously for other constituents within the Expedia organization. So I'm curious, how did you involve the C-suite in helping to undergo this transformation? What role did they play? I imagine had to be a pretty important set of individuals to win over and help with the perceptual shift within.
Yeah, I think it was really difficult. I mentioned the B2C side and the B2B side. On the B2B side, where we were now reporting, we had the advantage of working with a leader that understood this idea of we're going to give our inventory through to a partner, the partner is going to market it, we're going to make money on it, you put $1 in, you get more than $1 back. That was actually a really easy and conducive conversation for us to have. And it led us down the tracks of being able to leverage a lot of the strengths that were on the B2B side because we had leadership that understood that built up a B2B business within Expedia Group that rhymed so well with the things that we were doing. But of course, there's the other side of B2C where you have to go back and say, but isn't the thing that we're still doing driving traffic that lands on a B2C page, spending marketing dollars, you might call it commissions on the B2B side, but we call it marketing dollars on the B2C side, and doesn't it all need to fit? And so we spent most of last year just trying to harmonize the perspective there. Sometimes it worked really, really well and was easy. We're making more money for Expedia Group, how wonderful. Sometimes it's tricky. We're engaging in a channel conflict at certain moments. As we start growing, we have to ask more questions about incrementality and cannibalization, and are we providing value not just in the short term, but in the long term? I think the thing that wins out at the end of the day is growth and doing the right thing for the business. And because we were one of the fastest growing parts of Expedia Group, we actually got a lot of a leash and leverage, and that allowed us to get more support from the C-suite. And I mean, now we operate within an environment where people are so incredibly excited to work with us. We get inundated with requests at Expedia for how can our team help other teams to grow even more. So we won that support simply by growing and doing a good job at solving the business problem. The incrementality questions and all the marketing questions still exist, but I think they're easily thwarted by the power of the growth.
Well, it's wonderful to be in demand. So let's shift topics a little bit. I think many in the audience are probably wondering about the specifics with respect to the partnership transformation and strategy that you and your team underwent. So when we previously spoke, Clayton, when you assumed ownership of the affiliate channel, you gave indication that you took a languishing part of the company, which has now achieved immense growth, right? And so
to my whole team, I didn't call you all languishing. I said the business generally, it wasn't growing the way we wanted to. You all are great. Sorry, keep going. Tell us about our languishing channel.
Well, I think that this is probably a theme that others can relate to in terms of capitalizing on the attention of the C-suite and getting the prioritization. And so I'm sure the audience is keen to understand what are some of the strategies that you and your team have implemented to drive growth, and can you share any insight into the growth that you've experienced as a result?
Yeah, totally. I would say two things. On an internal basis, when we talk about our team, I tend to try to avoid affiliate terms. I think you will get much more, or I've found that I get much more leverage in conversations and much more attention if I say, I'm bringing to you a business problem or a business solution, and I'm bringing to you money or opportunity or customers or whatever it is, as opposed to starting with, let me tell you about the affiliate business. Affiliate, for whatever reason, has a very dirty connotation. I think affiliate businesses or affiliate channels in most companies end up getting shuttered to a dark corner as this dirty little thing that we will only do if we have to do it. I don't know if anyone in the audience feels that way. Okay, some people, but if you feel that way, the way that I've gotten out of that when talking to senior leaders is saying, I'm not solving an affiliate problem, I'm not answering an affiliate question, I'm answering a business question. And don't you want to grow? And here's a way to grow, and let's talk about growth. And so that ends up being really helpful. The other thing is we brought a lot of B2B type thinking into the space. I mentioned previously that if you tend to solve problems through the lens by which you frame that problem. If you start framing the work that we do in the B2B context, I could say things like, how strange is it that we have account managers that don't have quotas or targets? In a B2B business, that's an incredibly unusual thing. You're out there cross-selling or working with partners, and you should be growing the account every quarter by adding new products or getting greater usage and obsessing over those details of what is it that drives the top line. In an affiliate context or a marketing context, that is not the right question to ask because you should be thinking about efficiencies. Like, how do you adjust the ROAS? It isn't about more dollars on an absolute basis. It's about a better percentage. And so because we're in this B2B context, we started bringing in B2B commercial foundations. All of my partnership managers have targets that they operate against on a quarterly basis. We do bottoms-up sizing for every single partnership that they manage. And they operate against them, and they crush their targets every quarter. So thank you for doing that, everybody. Same with our business development team. We set commercials that are aligned with singular goals of driving top line, we call it gross booking value, that's our transaction value, and bottom line marketing contribution, so profit. And everything we do is focused on that. My team brings me data about interesting stuff. We'll grow brand awareness or new customers or whatever it is, kind of throw it out the window. Of course, it's important to the business, but we are maniacal about our business metrics of gross booking value and marketing contribution. Everything funnels into that direction. We change the language that we talk about our partners internally. We don't call them vendors, we call them partners. We don't call Partnerize a vendor, we call them partners. The rationale there is I think you treat a vendor and a partner differently. We should be paying our partners accurately and on time always. That feels like a basic thing. For a vendor, for Salesforce, like no offense to Salesforce if this is recorded, I apologize, Salesforce. For Salesforce, if a payment is late, it's okay, right? We're their customer. They can wait another 15 days or whatever it is, but for a partner, my goodness, never. You hold yourself to a different standard. When you talk to the team about that, they should hold themselves to a different standard. You answer the phone faster for partners. You solve problems differently for partners. We don't call it a marketing channel, we call it a business because we operate in the context of not being a marketing channel, but being a business. I think that's the foundational stuff that we've done that has shifted the perspective in our operations and allowed for us to grow.
Wonderful. So you mentioned the commercially minded, measurement-driven, maniacal approach. Curious if you can share some insights with the audience in terms of how you organized resources differently as you shifted from affiliate as a marketing channel to a business unit.
Yeah. We have reorganized around 3 different growth verticals. The first is where we apply our partnership managers, so people that work individually with our top accounts. And we do that based on size and based on opportunity. So if you are big, then you get more attention than if you are small. If you are big, you get better commercials and more access to our products than if you are small. And so that's pillar number 1 that we have. We have managed accounts. Pillar number 2 we have network managed accounts where we rely on partners like Partnerize to help us find the next cohort of publishers and help us grow with those publishers. And we're working with Partnerize now to make sure that that is a mutually beneficial relationship. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to have somebody that is willing to lean into that innovation with us and become a growth channel for us, not just a technology provider. So Sean and team, thank you for that. And then the third is that we have a direct program that focuses on the long tail, our self-service. And we tend to push a lot of partners in that direction of if we are not managing you actively, we want to give you great self-service tools, but if you are not big and if you are not going to be the thing that drives top line gross booking value, then we're not going to spend a lot of time there. You still deserve exceptional service and good care, but you're going to get it through self-service mechanisms. And so we stratify our growth in that way, and that's been how we organize.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, how has technology helped play a role in this evolution that your organization has undertaken?
Yeah. When I first joined the business, I think we dealt with a series of foundational issues that were quite tricky to solve. Just being part of the affiliate business, we have greater need for detailed tracking and reporting and reconciliations, different from other parts of the Expedia group. And those foundations just weren't solid enough. And they led to problems downstream, like invoicing and payment problems, or making sure that our travelers got the right cash back at the right time in the right way, et cetera. And so we've been rebuilding our foundations. That is a multi-year journey in order to get there. It is quite difficult to rebuild your entire data foundations and then the reporting on top of it and then the processes on top of that. But we've relied on partners like Partnerize in the interim to leverage their technology to augment our own as we go through this transition. And I think when we get through it, we'll still work very heavily with Partnerize. We'll have more of our internal technology to match and to be a peer of yours as well. So it's a little bit of using Partnerize as a bridge to get us to our own strong tech, and then eventually we will be there, and you all will say, you drove a number of transactions, and we'll say, oh my goodness, our data matches, and how wonderful that is. Those are the number of transactions we drove. We agree.
What a novel concept, data matching.
I know.
Okay, so as part of this shift, one of the most important components is people, right? And it takes an incredible amount of effort and energy to get everyone thinking in the same way and moving in the same direction. The C-suite and otherwise. And so as you shifted from describing affiliate as a marketing channel to a business unit, did that change the way you had to operate your team and collaborate with partners? I imagine that there were some shifts along the way.
Yeah, it was a massive change. I mean, if I talk just about the internal journey that the team went on, the very first thing we did is we built a cross-functional leadership team that involved representatives from our account management team, from business development, from product, tech, design, finance, HR, analytics. We locked ourselves in a room, actually in our office in Angel Square here in London, for 3 days. And we said, we're just going to focus on building out a 2-page document that is our vision. The first thing we did back in October of 2022. And it became an anchor point for where we wanted to get to. We anchored our vision in December of 2024. And then we shared that with the team, and we said, this is where we're going. And it took us a while, I think, for us to communicate that in a way that the team could hear and understand and appreciate. Because my goodness, there are a lot of things that are different. When I started saying things like, you're going to have a quota, that can be very scary on day one. But you continue to communicate those things and show gradual progress, and people believe they could execute against a quota. But then we also worked really hard to get our team to believe us, that we could go on this journey. I mean, how many times does a leader stand up in front of you and say, we're going to conquer that hill in 2 years, and it's going to be great and wonderful, and 6 months later there's an org change and a new leader comes in, and actually it's a different hill, or now it's a valley, and it all shifts around. I would understand if, and my team has never told me this, but I would understand if every single one of them, when we presented out our vision, was incredibly skeptical about whether or not we could get there. I see Toby smiling. Toby was skeptical as to whether or not we could get there. But we proved it out over time. I told you we're going to double, and gradually you see the progress. I told you that we're going to improve our data foundations, and gradually you see the progress. It's not going to happen in one day, but so long as we are demonstrating some of that value, we can bring you along on the journey. And I think our team has done a wonderful job responding to that and embracing some of that change. The way we operate today is dramatically different from how we operated previously. At higher levels throughout the company, because we moved over to the B2B business, it was so much easier to articulate what it is that we were doing, because all we're doing is executing the B2B playbook that our leaders were so familiar with. And my goodness, why didn't we do it 10 years ago? We had to do it faster. And so it's been a change management journey, but one that I think our team has embraced, thankfully.
And so this change management journey has even transcended the nomenclature and the verbiage that you use internally. You touched on this earlier, but maybe you can explain to the audience why the term affiliate marketing was banned and how you sort of navigated that shift culturally within the organization.
Yeah, I very similar to what I said earlier. When you frame a problem, you solve it in the way that you frame it. And to the extent that we were calling ourselves a marketing channel, I thought that got in the way of solving business problems or embracing the business problem that we were after. I think it also invited in obligations that marketing channels had. So I previously mentioned, whenever my team brings to me ideas that don't work on a GBV and marketing contribution basis, but do work on a brand awareness basis, throw them out. It's not what we're after. If we keep calling ourselves a marketing channel, I have to acknowledge those things, because that's what a marketing channel does. It works across the full funnel. But if I call ourselves a B2B business, I am maniacally focused on the bottom of the funnel, just looking at the dollars that are coming through. That's what I want to crack. And so, it's not a marketing channel, it's a business. They aren't vendors, they are partners, and we will treat them as such. We don't focus on customer acquisition, we focus on driving gross booking value and MC. And so those have been some of the changes. I find that as the language starts seeping back to being a marketing channel, I'll allow it every now and again, because we have to talk to people that aren't internal, and there are old habits that are hard to break, and allow it a little bit to seep back in. But if it gets too far, then I find that our thinking starts changing, because you use language that aligns with that different thinking. So we always try to push it back to being a business.
And that language shift has enabled you and your team to also develop more strategic partnerships with other organizations as a result. Whereas if you relied on, the term affiliate, you didn't necessarily land with the right contact at the organization. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, so we changed the name of the team over the course of a couple of years. This had been called the affiliates team, which makes sense. It was also called the retail partnerships team for a brief moment. Where we had a B2C side and a B2B side of Expedia Group. The B2C side was called retail, and we were the partnerships team for retail, so we were the retail partnerships team. That name on an external basis doesn't mean anything. And so we found that the wrong folks were reaching out to us and asking if we could do a partnership with them on behalf of Expedia Group. And so we changed the name one more time to just encompass all the things that we do, strategic partnerships and affiliates. Affiliates because on an internal basis, that's kind of the way they think about the traffic that we drive. And we do want to make sure that if someone is looking for the affiliate team at Expedia Group, they know where to go. But then strategic partnerships opens you up to a variety of conversations. All of a sudden, we're not talking with the affiliate marketing team at name the partner or name the prospect. We're talking with the chief revenue officer of a company that says, the thing I want to do is grow. And you all seem like a way that we could grow. Can you tell me how? And yes, we can. And so you end up having a different conversation with different types of partners and a different level as well. I always find that we have the best conversations when we get out of the affiliate marketing space and into the revenue space. As Expedia Group, we can do many things. We can give you tracking links. That's great. We can do coupons. We can do gift cards. We can exchange loyalty points. We have advertising inventory that we can sell you. We can give you our inventory on a white label basis or a branded basis through an API. We could set you up with your own template that is branded or unbranded. There are so many things that we can do, and the first one I said is affiliate, but the other 9 that I named are not affiliate things. And so just by changing our name, we opened ourselves up to conversations where we now had permission and expectation, not just to talk about the affiliate stuff, but to say, here's the full portfolio that we offer as a strategic partnerships business.
So Clayton, everything that you shared so far has sounded very rosy, very positive, but I can imagine that as you've undergone this shift with the team over a multi-year period, there had to be challenges that you encountered along the way. And for someone who, largely is an affiliate outsider, and I think you've even coined yourself, you're not a marketer, you're a businessman, there had to be some obstacles that you personally faced in helping to drive this transformation. So any learnings you would care to share in that respect?
Sure. By the way, I love that saying, I'm not a marketer, I'm a businessman. That sounds like a Jay-Z line. This has been so hard. I think if I was going to reflect on two personal challenges I had, the first is I came in with, and I operate this way, with strong convictions that were weakly held. But my goodness, were my convictions strong. Nick is in the audience. Most of you probably know Nick Caulfield. He's like the brilliant genius behind everything travel affiliate related. So smile and shake his hand later. But when Nick and I were first chatting, I think my hypothesis was that we have a series of products that we should try to sell into every partner, and the products included making sure that all of our partners had access to our employee benefits suite, and that we sold loyalty points in addition to a bunch of other things. I just had a very different mindset with this. I was convinced that the long tail was going to be the way that we grew, and we should lean into influencers because there are thousands of them out there, and my goodness, we could reactivate all of them. I had a bunch of hypotheses that, as you start digging into the data, were just wrong. And so I think learning number one was just staying open to data as it comes in and the reality of the business that we had. And I was fortunate that I had a team that would educate me at every turn and continues to do so, to say, no, Clayton, that's not how it works. You have to consider it this way. They also respond well to my pushes when I say, but couldn't it work the other way? So having a great team and staying open to the learnings they bring you has been one of my big ahas over the past couple of years. So thank you to my team for that. The second challenge I ran into is, like I mentioned that like affiliate marketing is like this like deep, dirty secret that nobody wants to talk about. And we actually had some leaders at Expedia Group that believed that very strongly. And so convincing them that actually we were doing a good thing was quite hard, because we weren't just combating the reality of the data that we have or the performance that we're driving. We were combating years or decades of what they would coin as wisdom about the way that affiliate marketing works. As an example, I would understand if a person that worked at a very prestigious technology company like Apple felt really negative about affiliate marketing. You have a product that you can only get through this one company. It is I was going to say apple of everyone's eye. That's a bad pun, but it's quite prized. Why would you then reduce the margins on it by opening up all these other channels? And the person that believes that is legitimate in their belief in that context for why that affiliate marketing may not be the solution for a business like that. Bringing folks that might have those strong beliefs into the context of Expedia Group, perishable inventory. We are a grocery store with the same commodity that many of our competitors have, and my goodness, I'd rather sell it for $1 than sell it for nothing, is quite the change. And so, I spent a lot of the past year helping some of those executives come along on this journey and appreciate the fact that two people can be right about the same thing. Affiliate could be the wrong thing within that context and the right thing in this context. But that took a lot of my time, energy, blood, sweat, tears, et cetera.
Understandable. So conversely, there had to be opportunities that were unlocked through introduction of new strategic partnerships or otherwise. So maybe you can share some of the positives that have Expedia has benefited as a result.
Yeah. I think when Expedia operates at its best, we are bringing all of our assets to all of our partners. And I rattled off a bunch of things that we can and do for partners. And so a lot of our focus, or a lot of my focus, has been finding opportunities where, with the new connection we have for the B2B team, and with this broader product portfolio, and with a team that is becoming more commercial by the day and embracing this mission of not being marketers, but being B2B commercial experts, we found a lot of opportunities to collaborate. And that could be a large affiliate partner today that has the opportunity to leverage our advertising inventory throughout online and offline for their own purposes to grow memberships with co-branded or singular branded advertising. It could be a cashback partner that we work with that says, what I really love? I'd love my own booking site. as opposed to sending all this traffic through to Expedia and some of its competitors. I'd love my own template, my own user experience and flow. And so we've been able to engage in a lot of those opportunities over the past couple of years and find partners that can benefit more from the Expedia ecosystem. We also do the opposite now, where those teams will bring us new contacts and new potential publishers that we can work with. And so there's a lot of synergy that comes from, again, elevating this from the marketing channel lens to the full business lens, and then saying, what are the other businesses I can collaborate with as peers?
And one of the other interesting points that you touched on when we've previously connected is highlighting the role that Expedia plays in helping to extend reach, not just for Expedia, but for some of your partners like Marriott or otherwise. Curious if you can elaborate on any of the strategic partnerships that have helped to accomplish just that, not just for Expedia, but for your partners as well.
Yeah. I think in the conversations with any supplier, we could pick a hotelier like Marriott. The way that we pitch ourselves as Expedia Group is we have access to populations of demand that Marriott may not be able to, or any hotel may not be able to get without our help. And that argument is strengthened through the diversity of reach that we have. And one of the things we can do within our partnerships is demonstrate and increase the diversity of reach. And so one thing I love doing is bringing to our supply teams examples of the different types of partners that we have, and ways in which those supply teams or any team throughout Expedia Group can engage specifically with one of those partners. No, I won't name any names within this audience, but we have grocery chains that we work with, and that is a unique audience. That is a unique moment in time that a person might be thinking of something. Maybe they're thinking of travel, or maybe they're thinking of something else. We have high-income earners that we access through certain partnerships. We have lower-income earners that we access through certain partnerships. We have specific demographics that we access through certain partnerships. And through all of that, we're able to cobble together this mosaic that we can bring back to suppliers and say, the thing that you are looking for is reaching somebody that matches this specific demographic, and my goodness, they're part of our portfolio, and this is the way we as Expedia Group can help you. And so in the conversations with, as an example in Marriott, we benefit by bringing that diversity to them and making it very clear that this is one of the value propositions of Expedia Group in the way that we provide reach that matters.
Amazing. So we have a few minutes before we turn it over to Q&A, and so I'm sure there are many in the audience who are keen to understand what they can do to elevate their approach to partnerships and take a more mature approach than they have previously. So what learnings would you share with the audience based on the journey you've undergone so far?
Yeah, I think my number one piece of advice would be anchor in on the business problem and understand that first and orient around that first. I mentioned that in my prior life I was a consultant. Most of the work that I did was in mergers and acquisitions, working for private equity companies. So if you don't want to hear this story, you can tune out for like 20 seconds because it's going to be super boring. But with those private equity companies, what would happen is on a Monday of week one, I would get a new target they were looking at. Some strange company that we had never known existed, in industrial scaffolding, the people that rent out scaffolds to paint the outside of nuclear silos. How much could that company be worth? Or ductile iron pipes that carry water from the concrete sewer pipe over to the home and connect to the copper pipes. And on day one of week one, you get that assignment, and by the end of week 3, you have to have a very strong hypothesis as to, is this space interesting? Is the company interesting? Is the price the right price? And each week was totally different. It's crane rentals, and then it's the wire that connects cranes and tugboats, and then it's J.Crew, and then it's on and on and on. And I did, over my time at Bain, I did over 60 of these, where you were just churning these things out every 2 or 3 weeks. And the only way that you can do it really well is to abstract away from the specifics of what you are solving into the business problem. And thinking about industrial scaffolding and renting out industrial scaffolds, that is very simply a demand and a utilization problem. And so now I got to figure out demand and utilization on that. And there's a bunch of other details, but I got to put those things to the side. Because if I figure out demand and utilization, then I think I've cracked the whole thing. Or, as I do, like I did a toenail fungus drug, how fun. That's an efficacy question and an adoption question. Okay, like if I figure out those things, the problem is solved. By the way, the fun fact on that one is we did the model very well, but we forgot that you need more if more toes are infected, so we had to add number of toes to the model. I would say I take the same approach when I think about the affiliate space of like if you zoom in and all you think about is tracking and reporting and payments. If that's the only thing you think about, I think you're going to miss the mark. I think you have to zoom out and say, what is the business trying to solve? Expedia is a grocery store with perishable inventory. The inventory is the same as its competitors. Rather sell it for $1 than to not sell it at all. Now I'm going to take that context and bring it into the tools that we have and the business models we have access to, affiliate being one of those, and then say, how do we use those tools to solve this broader problem? Starting from that perspective and moving in, I think actually brings you to conclusions that are more appreciated by the C-suite and get you more attention and can elevate the thing that you are doing and elevate the category, if it's a category, as opposed to beginning with, I wonder where else our links and tracking tools could be used. And so that's my biggest piece of advice.
Such an amazing perspective. Great example of an organization that is helping to disrupt the status quo.
Did you like the toenail fungus bit?
The what?
Did you like the toenail fungus bit?
It was a little TMI,
okay.
Quite honestly. Thank you so much. I think we have time for a few questions for Clayton. Thank you, Sean. Okay. There's quite a few here. So, first one, from your holistic view, which regions or countries do you foresee experiencing the most growth in the partnerships travel space for Expedia?
Yeah, that's a two-parter. Part one is in the places where we are smallest, we have the greatest opportunity. And so if I think about geographies that we are under-indexed in, I see a lot of growth opportunity there, and we're going to lean into those spaces. But then also we know that travel tends to balloon as incomes reach a certain level. There's a lot of the world that travels exclusively domestically, exclusively within their region, that's going to be opened up to international travel, and Expedia is a great brand there. So think about countries like India or Turkey or China or Indonesia or the Philippines or Malaysia. There's a lot of opportunity for those spaces.
Awesome. This is a good question. You discussed how the internal shift has helped drive success for the Expedia group, but what about the context of the travel industry? Has this helped?
Yeah, I think I like an environment where I believe that our competitors and our company is operating with the full positive intent of serving customers and travelers. And to the extent that us being strong and connecting supply and demand means more trips, I want my competitors to also generate more trips. And so if they take some of our tactics, I think that's a wonderful thing. At the end of the day, what that means is more people have more travel and more experiences, and that's exactly what we want. I mentioned previously, in our B2B business, we power some of our competitors. We do that mindful of the mission of more travel for more people. So hopefully the rest of the industry catches up to where we're at. I think we're leaders in this space, which is wonderful. And I hope we continue to keep our lead. But it's only a good thing if our competitors take some of our tactics.
Awesome. Another question, presumably from a partner. You mentioned the white label pillar of Expedia. What do you look for in a partner when looking to launch a white label?
Yeah. I would say the biggest constraint we have right now with our white label template is that it takes a lot of time and manual work to set up. On the order of, call it, at least 3 months or so to really get it right, to get like all the configurations, your brand, your feel, the service operations, the back end. When someone calls our contact center, we answer the phone, we use your brand name and your tone of voice and everything. So it takes a bit of time to set that up. We're working really hard to reduce that time. And as we reduce that time, it means we're willing to lean further into smaller partners. And so right now, we predominantly work with large companies that can bring a lot of demand to justify the investment we have to make in setting this up. But as we start engaging with more self-service, using machine learning and AI and other tools that make us more scalable and effective, that bar starts coming down, and our most significant hurdle, which is, are you big, becomes less relevant. So that's what we predominantly look for.
Okay, let's do one final. So I feel like you've touched on this, but let's just drive the point home. Why do you think the commission you can offer is higher than a direct hotel chain like Marriott, Hilton, et cetera? This is in reference to high cash back rates. And I think this is probably based on the approach that you've taken within your organization.
Yeah, it's at the core of it, it's not really. I mean, if a hotel chain wanted to do the exact same thing that we are doing, they have more margin to play with than we do. I think a lot of hotel chains or hotels or airlines, et cetera, engage in the same example that I gave with, like a technology company like Apple. And they prize the margin of their product so significantly that they become hesitant to take some of the aggression that we take. Now, they engage in a relationship with us where they commit to us a certain revenue share. And so they're willing to go to a certain level of margin, and we're just sharing that margin through with partners. And so I think by virtue of where we're at with the industry, that we intend on describing ourselves as better marketers than some of our partners, or at least marketers with more reach. It leans us into a position of being more aggressive than some of those. If I'm a hotelier, I look at that and I say, hey, that also de-risks my life, because I can just give over this amount of supply at a guaranteed CPA through to Expedia Group, and they'll match it with demand across a variety of sources, however they want to do it. I've actually never had a conversation with a hotelier that says they're upset with or disappointed by the tactics that we use, and so it feels like it's working well for the whole ecosystem. But if someone's in this room and they want to complain, then I'm happy to hear it.
We're going to take you out of the hot seat off the stage. Thank you so much, Clayton. This has been such an insightful conversation, and I'm sure that the audience has just found such great value in hearing about your approach and what your team has undertaken at Expedia. So thank you. Please give this man a round of applause. He's been up since 1 a.m.